Ravi.
Thanks for joining the call.
Thank you, Ravi.
Yeah, please share your screen.
Is my
Open.
screen visible, Ravali?
Yes, yes. Open your PPT and walk
Yes.
through. Over to you, Sunita.
Yeah, Ravali. So this is my PPT. Today I'm going to give you a brief about attribute dimension. First I'll tell you the what is the attribute dimension. So attribute dimensions, use this attribute dimension to group the members which use same criterion, and we can create attribute dimension for sparse dimension only. We cannot create attribute dimensions for dense dimension. And coming to second slide, so we can use these attribute dimensions in the following artifacts. Those are data form, RTP, business rules, and smart view. And so here we can see how to create attribute dimension. And here I come up with these questions. So first is, what is an attribute in general? Can you give me an example of an attribute in the Amazon app? So in general, we can call attribute as a quality or characteristic, which is for a person, a place, or a thing. So this is a general in attribute. So I'm going to give you an example for attribute in Amazon app. For that, I'm going to open at Amazon app. So this is the Amazon app. You can see here we can find so many categories. So I'm going to select this fashion category. Under this we have so many categories. Under this I'm going to select this women category. In women we have so many subcategories. So if you see this clothing category, we have so many subcategories: Western wear, ethnic wear, sports wear, maternity. So these are the subcategories. So, how we can connect these categories with the attributes, like so we can call these subcategories as a attribute values. So we can call this women or women as a attribute dimension, and we can call this clothing and accessories as a uh, like standard dimension. So like this we can create attribute dimensions, and we can apply to standard dimension. So this is about example of Amazon app. I'm going back to the my PPT. So here, can you explain the difference between a standard dimension and an attribute dimension? Coming to the standard dimension, while we are creating the application, we can these standard dimensions are created by system, like based on features we selected. And when it comes to the attribute dimension, we can create attribute dimension to the standard dimension, and we can create these attribute dimensions to sparse dimensions only, and we cannot create these attribute dimensions for label only members of dimension. And in which case do you prefer attribute dimension over standard dimension? Like if you want to the detailed data about member dimensions, like a standard dimension members data, we can use these attribute dimension. And can we assign an attribute dimension to dense or sparse? As I already told, we can assign an attribute dimension to sparse dimension only. We cannot assign attribute dimension to dense dimension. Can you show me how to create an attribute dimension? And then can you show me how to assign attribute dimension to a standard dimension? So to create an attribute dimension, I'm going to use my application, XCS application. So here is the XCS application. To create an attribute dimension, we have to go to the dimensions part. This is the dimensions part. Here I'm going to use like here one thing, if the dimension is sparse or dense, if we want to know, for that we have to click on this performance settings. Here you can see account is dense dimension. That is what we cannot assign attribute dimension to the account dimension, and remaining all are sparse dimension. We can assign attribute dimension to any of these standard dimensions. So going back to the dimensions tab. So here I'm going to select product. For this product, I'm going to create an attribute dimension. So for that, here we have an option to create attribute dimension. This is the icon we can create, or else we have another option under actions. We have another to create a attribute dimension, that is custom attributes, or else this is the shortcut key Control O. So we can click on this to create an attribute dimension. Here we can click on plus icon to create a new attribute. So I'm going to create a new attribute dimension here. So I'm going to give a name as product color. And here we have the data types of attributes. Dimension are text, date, Boolean, and numeric. For this, I'm going to take text as a data type. Just click on save. So you can see this attribute dimension has been created. So now we have to give values to the attribute dimension. For that, we have to click on this and we have to click on add shade. So I'm going to give color as a green. Click on save. I'm going to add one more shade for this attribute dimension. Color as red. And I'm going to add one more shade. I'm going to give color as a black. So just click on close. So once we made any changes in this attribute, like in dimensions part, we have to refresh the data. Before that, as per PPT, I'm going to assign this attribute dimension to standard dimension. For that, I'm going to entity dimension, or else product we have already created, right? I'm going to give assign this attribute dimension to the product member. For that, I'm going to select this telephones member, and this just expand the smartphones. So I'm going to give this attribute dimension to this member. For that, we have to select this member and we have to click on this edit button. Here you can see attribute values. Here you can see whatever attribute dimension we have created. So that has been appeared here. So if you expand this, so you can see here. So I'm going to assign this red attribute value to this particular member. For that, we have to select and we have to click on add. So click on save. Once this has been saved, we have to refresh the database. So for that, we have to click on action. We have to click on this refresh database. This is the mandatory step to reflect all the changes by application level. It will take some time to refresh the database. So we can do the refresh here, or else we have another option to refresh the database. So for that, we have to click on application cluster, and we have to click on overview. There we have a refresh database option under actions icon. So there also we can do the refresh the database. It's almost done. We have to wait for more half minute to complete this refresh database. So meanwhile, let me go to a PPT. So we are done with this slide and coming to next slide. Here we are going to see how to use this attribute dimension in data forms. For that, in this slide, I have come up with a few questions. And first one, can you show how to use attribute dimension in the data form in the paste drop down and show me how the standard dimension members are filtered. So here we come up with one tip, use any of the existing attribute dimension. If not available, create one as below hierarchy. So this is region we have to take as a attribute dimension name, and under that we have to create this child, means we have to assign these attribute dimension values. Let me check whether the refresh database has completed or not. Still it is running. Once it has been done, like we need to check whether this attribute dimension has been created or not. I guess I have already created this one. So let me check. We have an option to refresh database run in background. So as it is taking much time, I'm going to click on this run in background. It will run in the backgrounds. So just I have clicked in. And so just now I'm going to check in the entity dimension whether we have the attribute dimension or not. So for that, we have to click on this custom attributes. So I have already created this one with name of region, and under this region, I have, if you expand this, I have the assigned these attribute dimension values. So as per PPT, so we can skip this part now. Uh, now, so now Can you move attribute dimension to the POV and explain the outcome of it? And second question, can you move attribute dimension to the rows and explain the outcome of it? And can you move attribute dimension to the columns and explain the outcome of it? So we are going to do it in data forms, as we are in this slide, like how to use this attribute dimension in data form. For that, I have already one form. So just I'm going to the home page. Is we have to go to the forms. Just click on forms. If you expand this library under data forms, I have created this form for this demonstration purpose. I'm just clicking on edit button. You open this form. So go to the layout. Here I have taken in under POV, in the column I have taken EN01 entity dimension, and in the rows I have taken account dimension. Except these dimensions, I have taken remaining dimension in the POV, and you can see these are the attribute dimension I have created. This is the region under entity dimension I have created, and this is the product color under product dimension I have created. So in this, as per PPT, first I'm going to show you, just I'm going to move this attribute dimension to the POV and I explain the outcome of it. So for that, just I'm going to drag this region attribute dimension to the point of view. So here we have to select base level member as it is in the I'm going to select this USA part, USA. So now just save this form. And if you can see this preview. So you can see in the POV, we got this USA. Under region, we have selected this USA. That is what it has been occurred here, reflected here. Like this, we can use this attribute dimension in the POV. Let me drag it to the again an attribute dimension. Now, coming to the next question, can you move attribute dimension to the rows and explain the outcome of it? So I'm going to drag this region to the row. Here, I'm going to select this Europe. So just click on OK. Click on Save. Now, if you see the preview, this attribute dimension has been reflected here in the rows. Like this, we can use this attribute dimension in the row also. Now, can you move attribute dimension to the columns and explain the outcome of it? Now I'm going to move this attribute dimension to the column. No. So here I'm going to edit. You can see I'm going to change from Europe to APAC, Asia Pacific. Just I'm going to remove this Europe. Just click on OK. Just save this button. And I have Europe. And this is also I'm going to change to the Europe, Asia Pacific. Just I'm going to remove this. Click on OK. Click on Save. Just see the preview. You can see here. So this Asia Pacific has been reflected here, as I have selected this one, this RGB dimension for these entities. So these Asia Pacific has been reflected here. Like this, we can use data forms of attribute dimensions in the data form. So we are done with data forms, uses of attribute dimension in data forms. Next, go to the next slide. Here we can see how to use this attribute dimension in RTP. So here we come up with a few questions. First one is, can we assign attribute dimension or attribute dimension members in the RTP? The answer is yes, we can assign. If yes, can you show me how to assign attribute dimension or attribute dimension members in RTP? So can you show me only a few attribute dimension limited in the RTP? First, I'm going to show you how to create these attribute dimensions in the RTP. For that, I'm going to my application. We have to navigate the rules card under create and manage. So if I click on this, it will navigate to the another web page. This is the one, calculation manager. So to go to the RTP, we have to click on this variable designer. Under this, we have to click on application. So under application, we have to click on this console. So here we can create attribute dimensions. So this is already I have created attribute dimension. So if we want to create a new one, we have to click on this action and we have to click on this new one. So I'm going to give the name as RTP underscore like ATR product, PRDUC, attribute product. So I have given this name as RTP underscore ATR product, and we have to take type as member. And here under dimension, we can see we can see the region, and one more thing, we have created a product. We have created a product color. I guess this the refresh database has not been still it is in process. That is what it was not reflected here. So meanwhile, I can select region. So here again, I'm going to create one more attribute for entity dimension. As this region attribute have created under entity dimension. So that is what I'm going to give name ATR entity ENT. So region I have selected. Like this, once we have given all those numbers, we have to click on this save. And let me go back to the PPT. If there are any questions, can you show me only a few attribute dimensions limited in the RTP? Only show APAC and Europe from the above tip in slide 4. So we have to limit the attribute dimension values for these two entities only. For that, to do that, we have to check this RTP checkbox, then only this limits box will be enabled. Here we can give the name, we can limit the values, member values. So for that, we have two options. Either we can click on member or else we can click on function. This time I'm going to click on this member and we have to drag this. And as per PPT, we have to select this APAC and one more thing, Europe. So this Europe. And we have to click on OK. So like this, we can limit the values, attribute values. So user can see only these two entities of region attribute dimension. Remaining USA and Europe, USA and another entity, user cannot access that. So default value we can take through function also or member also. Just I'm going to use this function. We have these list of functions. So at the rate of attribute we can take, and if you click on this under member, so region, under region, I'm going to select this APAC as a default value. Just click on OK. Like this, we can give the default value. So here we have to enter the text. So enter the entity. Once we have given all those details, we have to click on this save icon, save button. So it is going to be saved. provide runtime prompt text for the. So we have already, so this is the text, sorry. Here we have to give this text. This is text. This we have to click on save. So you can see here, we have created attribute dimension under RTP, in the RTP. So we are done with this slide. Next, going back to the PPT. So we can see now usage of this attribute dimension in the business rules. So can you show me how many functions are available to use attribute in the BR? So like I have already shown you like how to use these functions, how many functions are available. If you can click here, if you can see here, these are the functions we have in the business rules. So these many functions we have. So like this, we can see the functions in the BR. Just click on cancel. And can you show me at least 2 functions of an attribute in the BR? So choose randomly any attribute dimension member. So I'm going to show you how to use these attribute dimension in BR. For that, we have to create a business rule. So for that, we have to again just click on these rules. So it will navigate to this calculation manager under system view. If you expand the CPM cloud, you expand this application name. So just click on this console, click on this rules. So you can see these are from FCCS underscore 10 to 60. These are the system defined, predefined business rule. So these are the rules from custom rule 1 to rule 2, and these are these 4 I have created. These are the custom rules. So this is the one I have created already, the business rule for attribute dimension. If you want to like create a new one, you just click on this rules. If you can click on right click, you can see here, we can click on this new button. We can create a new custom rule. So as I have already created this one, I'm just going to open it. For that, we have to select this rule and we have to click on right click and click on open. So you can see like under this, I have created this business rule. This is the custom rule attribute dimension I have taken name as. So here you can see this is the attribute dimension I have created previously, RTP underscore attribute entity. And you can see I'm going to give another attribute dimension which we have created earlier, RTP underscore ATR ENT. So this is RTP underscore ATR ENT. Let me cross check whether this name is correct or not. Yes, this is correct. So once we have given this script, this is the fixed script I have used. So once we have given this script, we have to first validate this one. For that, we have to first let me save this one. So custom rule has been saved, and now we have to validate this. You can see this attribute has been appeared here. Under variables, business rules, under variables, it has been appeared. So here also you can see the function attributes. If you select this one, you can see these are the functions in the business rules we got. So like this, we can see the functions in the business rules also. Just click on cancel. First, let me validate this one. Is validating. So the rule validated with no errors. Now, once validation is done, we have to deploy the this business rule. For that, we have two options here. We can validate and deploy. As we have already validated, I'm going to click this action icon. Here we have only deploy option. I'm going to click on this deploy. It is going to be deployed in business rules. So the deployment was successful. Now we just let me go to the application, whether this custom rule has been deployed in business rules or not. For that, we have to click on this navigator. We have to click on this rules under dashboards. So it will navigate to your business rules. Here you can see this is the one custom dimension I have created. Custom business rule I have created. We launch here. You can see this is the like we have created these attributes right under RTP. We have used this in business rules. You can see this. Please enter the attribute and enter the entity. So here you can, if you click on this member, select. So you can see we have restricted these two entities for the user. So user can access these two entities only. So he cannot access other remaining two entities. So like this, we can restrict the member to access the entities like members. So like this, we can use the attribute dimensions in the business rules also. Let me go back to the PPT. We are done with this part. Now we can see how to use of attribute dimension in SmartView. For that, we have to now we have to open SmartView. Further, let me open a new Excel. So here we have an option Smart View. So if you click on this Smart View, you have to click on panel to connect with Smart View. So we have to click on this private connection and we have to click on this URL. You can see in the last we have the Smart View, right? We have to click on this smart URL. We have to provide credentials. FCCS URL credentials. So EPM default _ cloud _ admin. We have to enter the password. We have successfully logged in, connected to the Smart View. Just if you click expand this, if you expand this, this is our application name. So if you expand this library, like I'm going to use this form for attribute dimension, which I have used this one for data forms, uses of attribute dimension of data form. Just I'm going to open this one. So let me cross check this data options, this one. Yeah, we have to uncheck this one. Otherwise, we cannot open ad hoc analysis form for this form. Now, let me click on this ad hoc analysis. So now I'm going to show you how to use this attribute dimension in the Smart View. Just let me insert one row here. So if you assign this region, this is the attribute dimension we have created, right? So if you give this region, just if you click on this, if you click on this one, invalid freeform one column member in another column. Okay, so here this is if you click on this. So here you can see this APAC, we have already assigned this one for this at region form. So that is what it is not accessing this one. Let me open another form. This is the form for subvariable. Let me open this. Let me click on this ad hoc analysis. Let's move it here. Just insert one row. Keep this region. Just refresh. So you can see this region attribute dimension we have applied in Smart View also. This has been reflected here. Like this, we can use this attribute dimension in Smart View also. So this is about like we have done with the attribute dimension, how to use attribute dimension in data forms. And also we have seen how to use these attribute dimension in Smart View and business rules and RTP. So I'm done with this step. So we have seen this also. We have already, I have already covered this. So this is my, all about the attribute dimension. I'm done from my end, Ravali.
Thank you, Sunita. Thanks for
Thank you,
your
Ravali.
time.
Yeah, thank you, Ravali.